Most people think quiet people are just shy. They're not. They're selective. There's a difference between someone who can't talk and someone who chooses not to. And psychology makes this very clear. The same person who barely says a word in one room can be the loudest, funniest, most expressive version of themselves in another. Not because they changed, because the room did. Here's what's actually happening inside their mind. Every single social environment gets filtered. Unconsciously, automatically, they're asking, is this worth my energy? Are these people real? Do I feel safe here? And if the answer is no, they go quiet. Not out of fear, out of awareness. They've already read the room. They just don't like what they read. See, communication isn't just personality. It's comfort. It's trust. It's that invisible feeling that tells you, these people get me. When that feeling is missing, words feel pointless. So they stop giving them out for free. And this isn't random. It's built from experience. At some point, they talked. They shared. They opened up and got interrupted, dismissed, or completely ignored. So they made a quiet decision. Not every space deserves my voice. That's not weakness. That's self-respect. There's also something most people completely miss. Quiet people are some of the most energy-aware people alive. They can feel within minutes whether a conversation is draining them or feeding them, whether someone is genuine or just performing. And rather than waste themselves on interactions that leave them empty, they simply don't engage. They conserve. They protect their peace without making a big deal about it. They don't fake laugh. They don't force enthusiasm. They don't pretend to care just to seem friendly. If the connection isn't real, their silence is the honesty. And that's actually rare. Most people will perform just to be liked. Quiet people would rather be misunderstood than be fake. That takes more strength than most people realize. This is exactly why they get misunderstood. People label them cold, arrogant, antisocial, too serious. But none of that is accurate. They're not avoiding people. They're avoiding fakeness. They would rather be completely themselves with 3 people than wear a mask for 30. And they're completely okay with that trade. But here's where it gets interesting. Put that same quiet person around people they actually trust, and everything shifts. They joke. They go deep in conversations. They share opinions without filtering every word. They laugh genuinely. They become someone that the outside world never gets to see. And the people around them always say the same thing. I didn't know you were like this. You were so quiet before. That's not inconsistency. That's context. They were never the problem. The environment was. There's a psychological term for this. It's called social filtering. And it explains why some people naturally invest their words only where it feels worth it, where it feels real, where they feel seen. It's not a choice they consciously make every time. It's an instinct that developed over years of learning which spaces deserved them and which ones didn't. And then there's psychological safety. This is huge. People open up when they feel safe from judgment, from rejection, from being misunderstood. The moment someone feels like their words might be twisted, mocked, or completely ignored, they shut down. Not because they're fragile, because they're smart enough to know when a space isn't built for them. There's also the habit of observing before speaking. Quiet people don't walk into a new environment and immediately start talking. They watch first. They notice how people interact, how they treat others, how they react under pressure. They're building a mental picture before deciding how much of themselves to reveal. This makes them incredibly intentional. When they finally do speak, it's not filler. It's not noise, it's something they actually meant to say. And here's the part that most people never notice. When a quiet person chooses to speak, pay attention, because they don't fill silence just to fill it. Every word has already passed through a filter. They thought about it. They decided it was worth saying. That's why when they finally speak, it lands differently. It carries weight that constant talkers rarely achieve. They also don't feel the need to be liked by everyone. This is something most people struggle with deeply. The need for approval, the need to be accepted by the whole room. Quiet people have already moved past that. They're okay being misunderstood by many if it means staying real with themselves. They don't correct every wrong assumption people make about them. They don't explain themselves to people who aren't ready to listen. They just let it be and keep moving. That might look like indifference from the outside, but it's actually one of the most peaceful places a person can reach. Not needing everyone to understand you, not adjusting who you are just to fit a room that was never built for you. And silence, for them, is never awkward. It's normal. It's comfortable. They don't feel pressure to keep a conversation alive just to avoid an empty pause. They measure connection not by how much was said, but by how real it felt. Some of the deepest connections they have involve more silence than words. So the next time someone says, "You don't talk much," understand what they're really seeing. They're seeing one side of that person. They're seeing them in a space where they don't feel fully comfortable, connected, or understood. They're watching someone who has already decided this environment doesn't deserve the full version of me. Because quiet people are not quiet everywhere. They are loud in the right rooms, with the right people, at the right time. They are expressive, warm, funny, and real, just not for everyone, and not on demand. They are not quiet because they have nothing to say. They are quiet because they have learned the hard way that not every space deserves their voice. And knowing that is not a limitation. It's wisdom.